Andy, you've been so very kind to showing us the best and the brightest of camera and balloons, but obviously the single-seat balloon concept has come a long way. Tell me what you have here.
Well, this is called a hopper. It's a one-man balloon, and it's really the minimalist approach to ballooning. This, if you will, this is what backpacking is to RVing, okay? Very, very simple, very straightforward. No basket, no gondola, only one tank, which you can see right there. So you strap yourself into the seat. The burner is above your head. You have a little bar to rest your feet on, and it's just you and the balloon, and you go fly. And it's a very different way to experience ballooning. It's kind of weird to look down and not only see the ground below you, but see your legs dangling in front of you. It really is a fun toy. It's not for everybody, but it's a great way to go fly.
Now, what kind of training is necessary to operate something like this? And by any chance, is this something that would technically be allowed to be flown as an ultralight?
We prefer that people get into a hopper who have some experience in regular balloons, because you do need a little bit more control. You know, when you're coming down to land and you land a little bit hard and it's just you and your legs absorbing that shock, you want some more control. But so we encourage it that way. It is actually experimental. It's not a fully type certificated aircraft because of this ring that rotates. One of the safety features in this aircraft is that when you come into landing, you land coming in forwards, and then you reach up and you rotate yourself around at the last second so you land backwards. That is specifically prohibited by the FAR, so it is experimental. It does qualify in some cases for ultralight, though, so we could build a very lightweight envelope to go with us using some lightweight fabrics. We built one or two this way, but we would prefer those people who get into it have some real ballooning experience first.
Well, I got to ask, especially since I'm already okay, how much money do I have in my pocket here? What does something like this cost, and what does that include? What is the whole physical vehicle like?
Well, it's what you see here. So a tank, a burner, a harness assembly, some instruments. Depending on the configuration you go with, of course, an envelope that would be very small size to fit this configuration. Depending on the configuration and the options you go with, you're looking at, you know, $19,000 to maybe $22,000 as a typical ballpark number for a brand new one. There aren't that many of these in the U.S., so it's kind of hard to find on the used market. But they're very popular in Europe, and they're gaining some popularity here.
Now, from a training standpoint, what operation or training or operation standpoint, how would you operate this vehicle differently than a conventional balloon and gondola assembly?
Well, this is a low-wind aircraft. You really don't want to be flying this or landing it in 20 knots. So when we have perfect mornings, kind of like we've had the last few days here at Fiesta, you want light winds for takeoff and landing. You know, as with all balloons, we're using friction with the ground to slow us down. So you don't want to come in hard at 20 knots and drag through all the pricker bushes and all the other stuff they have out here. So it's a light wind aircraft, but other than that, it flies just like any of the other balloons that you see out here. It's very maneuverable, it's small, it's easy to get in and out of tight places, so it's a lot of fun.
Well, it being a smaller device, is it possible a smaller crew can handle the setup and takedown of something like this?
Absolutely. This will fit in the trunk of an average, mid or full-size vehicle. So it's very compact. There's not much equipment to lug around. It breaks down so you can take the pieces out individually. And there's lots of folks who fly these without any crew, and they hitchhike back. But usually you have at least one crew person just to drive the chase vehicle and meet you at the other end of the flight.
Well, it's a beautiful assembly. The workmanship, by the way, is gorgeous. Spending as much time as I do in aviation, you can see somebody who's in love with getting hardware right, and some of the welding work here is just absolutely exquisite. But it's a beautiful looking construct, kind of a really neat device. For somebody who may be interested in something like this, how do they get in contact with you?
The easiest way to find us is on the website. The company name is Camera and Balloons. We have cameraandballoons.com, but usually any kind of a search on the internet will find us, and we've got lots of information, but we are always happy to talk about ballooning, so just give us a call and we'll gladly answer questions.
Aero-TV is brought to you by...
The beauty of the Release 9 system architecture is that you have two fully redundant integrated flight displays. Each has access to all the systems and data. Providing full redundancy and eliminating traditional reversionary modes, Release 9 allows either display to be configured as the PFD. Now, your failure modes are much more manageable because you can continue to fly with the same familiar display symbology without the need to relearn composite modes you don't typically fly with. Avidyne's Integra Release 9 is truly the next generation in fully integrated flight deck technology.